Before we begin, I wanted to let everyone know that Lanco Federal Credit Union is a 2019 Diamond sponsor of Main Street Mount Joy, and they are also our video sponsor, so please check them out. Lanco FCU is a not-for-profit financial institution owned by their members, and with over 10,000 members, you are likely to have friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors who are already member owners. Instead of paying shareholders, they return excess earnings to their members through competitive rates on deposits and loans, rewards programs, lower fees, and so much more. So check them out at www.lancofcu.com.
Hi everybody, we're in my workshop again. Today we're still talking about taking your business to the next level. And I just had my show. I had a great show at the Donegal Craft Fair. It's my third year I've been there, and each year I sell more than I did the year before. And this year I sold the best bowl that I consider the best bowl that I had to someone actually that I know. So it was a really good show. One thing I want to talk about is the conversation I had with one of the vendors who's actually right behind me at the show, which ties into this whole taking your business to the next level conversation that we've been having for the past couple of weeks. This is a person that I talked to who started her business in her house, and she's ready to expand her business, and she wants to sell online. She's thinking of possibly opening a store. She doesn't live in Mount Joy, so we can't get her in Mount Joy, but she is thinking about possibly opening a store or just looking for other ways of selling her product that she makes, because to be honest with you, she told me she loves making her product, but she has too much in her house, so she has to get rid of it. So one of the things she's doing is she's getting ready to take her business from the level she's at now in her house up to the next level, and even beyond that, thinking about what it's going to be in 3 to 5 years. So we had a very interesting conversation when it was kind of slow at the show. I asked her what was the hardest thing about her opening a business. And the hardest thing for her was making sure that people were going to buy her product, which is one of the most common questions that people have when they open a store. Is someone going to come in? Are they going to buy what I have? Or if you're in the service industry, are they going to, look at me as the expert that's going to give them advice, and people are going to pay me for my advice? I've been on both sides of this. I've been in the service type industry where I gave, intellectual technology advice through website design, network security, things like that. And I've also now been on the retail side of it with my woodworking business on if I'm going to make something like this flute, are people going to buy the flute, and am I just wasting my time trying to make it? She had a very interesting problem with her, though. She has a huge problem with rejection. And that's funny because that was the topic I was going to talk about this week, was rejection. When you are opening a business for the very first time, there's a certain level of rejection that you will have in your business. And that is because if you're going out for the very first time, again, are people going to come into your store? Are people going to like what you're selling or like what you're offering? If you're a restaurant or a beverage bar, situation, are they going to like your food? Are they going to like your drinks? Are you going to carry the right kind of alcohol? Are you going to carry the right kind of food? It's a really big question, and sometimes you just have to take that leap out and say, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to hope or pray or whatever you do to make yourself feel good that people are going to use your services or come into your business. But there's a bigger thing with taking it from one level to another level. Because when you're at this level, you are comfortable with where you are, and you're not taking the chances that put you out of your comfort zone. If you're at a certain level that you like, and I fell into it with my web design business. In my web design business, there were certain clients that I loved because they kept me at this level. I could have gone for projects that took me up to this level, but there was that sense of rejection of, am I a big enough company? Do people know who I am? Am I going to succeed at doing this project if I've never done one before? So I tended to stick with very small, medium-sized companies. Every now and then I would take a larger company and kind of play with that, bumping up to the next level. But I always preferred the really small companies, the mom and pop shops, bed and breakfast, small insurance companies, things like that, where I dealt with the owner and that owner was the one making the decisions, or it was a very small company and I would work with a small set of people to get the project done. That was where my comfort zone was. So I, in my web design business, always liked staying at that level, and I was very comfortable at that level. I liked it. It was easy. I enjoyed it, and I thought about pushing myself up there, but I decided I was going to go on a different route with my life and get into woodworking, which I really love too. If you have your own business, you are going to be in a comfort level that you're happy with. That comfort level is only what you think it is. It's not for me to tell you what your comfort level is. It's not for anyone else to tell you what your comfort level is. It is only for you to decide what your comfort level is. So when you want to take it from one comfort level to another, that little area right in there, you could be faced with something called rejection. And to be honest with you, most of the rejection you're going to experience is going to be your own rejection and what you think you're going to fail at compared to what other people may think you're going to fail at. So as an example, in my woodworking business, I've talked about this flute that I'm making, and I'm experiencing a lot of rejection with it. And it's funny because a lot of businesses downtown are asking me, when are you going to come out with that flute? Are you still going to make your flute? And I have to keep telling them, well, I'm putting it off a little bit. I'm not really getting it the way I want. It's not sounding right. I can't get any sounds of it. And the more I think about it, and the more I hear myself say that, that's actually my own rejection, saying, I don't know if I'm good enough to make a flute. And that's why I'm not continuing to really push ahead with it as much as I want to. I've gone on to other projects like a bamboo flute that you play more like a recorder. They're easier to make. I can make sound out of them. It makes me feel good when I make them. But the more I think about it, I really need to get back on this project because this is a project I really want to do. But what's holding me back is my own rejection on this project. So that's going to change. Starting next week, I'm going to go back on making these flutes, and I will have a flute by, I'll say June. Let's say June. So I'll set myself a deadline where, excuse me, I'll set myself a deadline that says by June, I will have a flute. So hopefully that'll get rid of the rejection that I have inside. So when you're taking your business from one level to another, think about what's preventing you from really moving from that level. If you really think about it, some of that could be your own rejection. And your own rejection meaning, are you too worried to make the change going from this level to another? Do you not feel that you're comfortable enough or confident enough to take your business from one level to another? The conversation I had with the vendor behind me, she faced a lot of internal rejection. So what I did was I gave her some ideas of ways that she can grow her business. She was very insecure about being able to go out and ask people to buy her product. And when you think about it, when you have a small business, that's kind of half the job, is going out there and asking people to come in, even begging people to come in and try your product, try some of the food, try a new menu item, try a sample of a product that you have to try and get them to come back. And if you aren't good at sales, it's going to be really tough to grow your business because part of growing your business is going to be something on the sales side. So she was very, very insecure. She had done most of her sales through family and friends and people that knew her, who knew somebody that bought something, word of mouth. So she was very apprehensive about going out and asking people to buy her product. Even at the show, when people were coming up to talk to her, I kind of listened in the back of my head and heard how she sold, and she wasn't very assertive with her own product. She, kind of undercut herself as to how good her product really was, and it was a really cool little product that she had. I gave her some ideas on how she can overcome that. So if she wanted to grow her product line, I said, have you ever thought about being a wholesale distributor where you can sell your product to a store and let the store carry it for you and let them sell your product? Maybe do something on a consignment basis where you can put a number of products in the store and then keep tabs on it. And whatever the store sells, the store gets a commission, and you keep up with the inventory. So in that case, she wasn't really going out pushing her product on her own. She was just making that initial contact with the store and just dealing with one person compared to dealing with 30 or 40 people in her own store. So it's something she's going to go ahead and try. And I'm going to work with her a little bit. I'm going to give her some guidance as to what she can do and kind of keep tabs on her, because I'd really like to get her into Mount Joy. She has a product that's kind of unique that we don't have in Mount Joy right now. And it would be really cool to see it. And maybe I can even connect her with some of you guys out there and see if you guys would carry some of her product. But I want to make sure she's comfortable with that before I go ahead and bring her in and introduce her to some people. So that's the really major thing you need to think about is, are you going to self-reject yourself to prevent you from going from here to here? I don't know if I can really help you with that. I can come down and I can give you a pep talk. I can give you ideas as to how you can grow your business that maybe will overcome some of your internal rejection. But a lot of your internal rejection is something that you specifically have to get over. So one way of doing that is to just kind of outline what you're good at and what you're not so good at, and figure out, are you using the things that you're good at to move your business from one level to another, or are you allowing the things you're not so good at to dictate you staying at this level? So in my web design business, I was definitely using my not so good things to prevent me from going from one level to another. The things I was always concerned about was, in my web design business, I was a one-man show. So if I dealt with a larger company and they wanted customer service, I was always available 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I always had my phone with me. But I always felt in the back of my mind that a one-person web design firm could never get some of the really big jobs because I was just a one-person show. Whereas I was dealing with the small businesses, they didn't really care how big you were because they weren't as demanding. And, you know, they didn't call you at, well, I shouldn't say they didn't, but they rarely called you at 3 in the morning. So they would call during the day or they would call after hours, but it wouldn't be like in the middle of the night. And the large businesses that I did deal with, I would frequently get calls at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., something's not working right, email doesn't work, and I'd have to, go downstairs to my computer and fix it for them. So that was one of the things on my end that I kind of let dictate why I didn't really, get bigger in my business, and I kind of stayed a one-man show. Not that I'm not happy with the way I did my business, don't get me wrong. I was extremely happy in my web design business, and I really did enjoy it. But it was one thing that was holding me back from going from a one-man show to even a 5 or 10 person web design business and, competing with some of the really big places out there. But I really did enjoy it. So that's the thing I want to talk to you about is rejection. Think about what you're doing inside your mind that's preventing you from going from one level to another. And I will be facing the exact same thing with this product right here. This is my last prototype that I did, and I can't make a sound out of it. But as I'm looking at it tonight before this video, I think I might have figured out why I can't make a sound. So I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to make a sound with the next one. And I'm going to keep making a sound and keep making a sound. And if I have to go through 500 pieces of wood to make a flute, I'm going to go through 500 pieces of wood to make a flute. And it's really hard to make because boring a straight line in a piece of wood like this is really, really difficult to do without it splitting or shattering. So I'm going to keep trying it, and I will come out with a flute. So as I'm building my business to the next level, I hope to see you guys building your own businesses to the next level. Please give me a call if you need someone to come down and talk to, if you need someone to help write a plan or give you some advice. That's what I'm here for. So please use Main Street Mount Joy. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you guys next week.